Board on this computer. Recording. All right, let's see how bad this sounds. Hey, Kanan. Sorry I'm late. I was with Sabine. So you're going to invite me in?
You didn't knock, so what makes you think you need an invite?
I'm sorry.
Then you should knock first.
Not for that, for missing training.
It's all the same thing. The fact that you don't see it. Ezra, when we were on that asteroid, you made a dangerous connection through the Force. Now I know. Now I have to know if you're ready.
I am ready. Wait, ready for what?
For a test, a real challenge, one that could determine if you're meant to be a Jedi or not.
But you said I was a Jedi. Why else would you be training me?
I never said you were a Jedi. I said you had the potential to become one. But you lack discipline, focus.
Come on. You knew how I grew up. I'm not used to all these rules. Kanan, I want to become the Jedi you see in me, the one I don't always see in myself.
You're lucky you're not my master. She never let me get away with
all the things you tried to get away with.
You want a second chance or not?
I mean, if you want to give me one.
I'm not giving you anything. Now go prep the Phantom.
As you say, Master.
I might regret this.
This is the way.
We wanted men.
As you can tell, we're talking about Rebels, but yes, we got stuff to do before we get there.
That was a scene from Rebels, if you're not up to date on Star Wars Rebels.
Right. That way we don't get busted for stealing scenes from Rebels.
Right. We're just making them better.
Right. So today there was a toy show, which was awesome. Well, awesome because it was a toy show. But Jason, what were your thoughts on the toy show today?
I've seen ghost towns more populated than this toy show.
Yeah, I just think, dude, it was the perfect storm of a bad day to do a toy show. Because Toylanta was 2 weeks ago. Start of spring break. Easter's tomorrow. I mean, maybe if he would have had it in Florida, it would have been okay. Because I think everybody's in Florida this week.
South Beach. Let's do it on South Beach.
Yes, I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
Clothes optional in South Beach.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What I've seen in South Beach is, well, I was there early one morning and it seemed like people don't come out till about 1 o'clock at South Beach.
It's pretty dead. It's a night city.
Yeah. You didn't pick, did you pick anything up?
Well, it's been a while since we've talked and I got lots to talk about when it comes to just pickups and the news. There's tons of news to talk about.
Oh, what do you just go, man? Yeah.
Well, Target has some really cool Star Wars shirts as they normally do, but there was one that is Cobb Vanth from Mandalorian season 2, and it looks like he's like flying in, like he's landing with the jetpack and everything, and it was too cool, so I picked that up. And I was actually on the search for that for a while because I'm an extra large and I couldn't find that, and then one day I found it. I'm like, I'm grabbing that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been a minute since I bought a Star Wars shirt.
Did I talk about the vintage collection, the Walmart exclusives?
Maybe, but I don't know. Did you try ordering them? Well, I haven't. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was incredibly easy to order them. It was Pat Blue, Leia with the poncho and Endor, and then the ATSD driver, or some people call it the EST. And it was real easy to order it, and then like within 24 hours they were still available, so they didn't sell out right away.
Huh.
But then I did check Hasbro Pulse because I did get the premium, and they have that new section for exclusives. And so I was curious if all of these Walmart stuff would be populated on that section of their site. And when I was hitting refresh at whatever they went live, like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever, the Transformers Walmart exclusives started popping, but the Star Wars exclusives were not there.
Huh.
So I'm kind of worried that Star Wars is getting the shaft here.
So they
There's
were
some
on. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They were on Walmart.com, but not Pulse.
Yes.
Okay.
But the Transformers were on both Walmart.com and Pulse, and they were Walmart exclusive Transformers.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what they were because I don't know much about Transformers outside of Bumblebee, Jazz, and Optimus Prime.
Right.
Megatron and Starscream. Let's see, is there any other ones?
There's a shit ton of them.
Yeah, there are.
I've got a buddy that collects Transformers, and he's one of the high-end collectors. And every time it's ridiculous the amount that Transformers get. And it's a totally different grading system with AFA, because with Star Wars, if you get a 75, you're like, it's dirt and it's crap. And he's like, a 75 Transformer. This is great. Look at this. And so it just, everything's so different in Transformer world. But if when we're talking Transformers, have you seen the Unicron or the big ass?
Yes,
that thing's huge.
I saw a 15-minute video that Hasbro released of them transforming it, and I just don't have the patience to do that.
Yeah,
that thing is just my son, when he was too young for it, it was Starscream, and that took me a good half hour to try to figure out how to transform it from.
Oh my goodness. Starscream's easy, dude.
No, this one wasn't. This was like one of the movie release versions. It was like a $50 one and had electronics, and
jeez,
that was crazy. And then I did pick up the vintage collection Boba, Grief Karga, Zuntan, also known as Red Snaggletooth, and Leia. I couldn't find the child. Picked those up at Target, so I'm happy to have those as part of my collection. I also picked up, or they delivered, the Jawa with the Kenner deco. It was an Amazon Black Series exclusive. Where is he? He's right here. I mean, the Jawa is kind of meh. It was probably the easiest for them to convert from regular Jawa to Kenner Jawa. But from the look of it, he's got the cape on it, so he just looks like a regular Jawa.
Right.
There's nothing that screams Kenner. Now, the Obi-Wan, on the other hand, that screams Kenner. He's got the vinyl cape. He's got the colors. He's got, I don't know. He doesn't have, I've seen a lot of people complaining that the lightsaber doesn't come out of his hand, which I get, because it's just a cheap repaint. And that's what Hasbro seems to be after lately. It's just, how can we make something cheap and easy?
Right. That's like the new Luke that they came out with, that all they did was repaint the training one, the one from Bespin.
Yeah.
Paint it black and give, somebody said all they did was paint it black and give him an accessory that Thrawn should have had.
Yeah.
Hell, I wonder if the Thrawn San Diego Comic-Con Thrawn, it just hit me. I wonder if that's sitting in. If they have that guy in San Diego Comic-Con Thrawn.
What for? What?
The lizard or whatever that sits on Thrawn's neck. The
army. That is part of the comic, the Luke. That's what you're asking, right?
Right. It's part of the. But did that originally come with the San Diego Comic-Con Thrawn?
No.
Okay.
Because it's not canon.
Oh.
That's part of Legends.
Right.
It's part of the old canon. It's not part of the new one.
Freaking Lucasfilm or Disney.
I also got the Phantom Menace Black Series from Best Buy. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the shipping, how they've been shipped, where they've got scratches or bent cards. The action figure gods were shining down on me, and mine arrived really great, so I have no complaints there. And I feel bad for all the people who, because I've experienced it with crushed cards when you get something in the mail and it's all crushed. So I feel empathetic for them, but mine turned out great.
Awesome.
I also, two more things. I picked up the Boba Fett that went live on Target.com.
Yep.
I placed an order for pickup, and I was certain that I wasn't going to get it. And then they said, come pick it up. And I came and picked it up, and it looked great. It wasn't smashed. There's no cut marks on the top. It was beautiful.
Awesome.
I got a 93 back Kim Simmons poster. 11 by 14. Jerry Hancock in our group is getting his autographed, and I thought that was a great idea. And so I'm getting that signed by Jim Swearengin, and there's somebody else, Tom something from ICCC. Hopefully someday I can get what am I blanking on their names?
Because we all suck with names.
Doug Miller and Tim. Where am I getting Jim? What's the other gentleman's name?
Effler.
Tim Effler. Thank you. Hopefully I can get them to sign it.
Well, I think once COVID's over, we're gonna have a hell of a meetup, and
that's awesome.
Knock on wood. We'll have it'll be all maybe those guys will show.
The older I get, I've tried making action figures before and I just fail. And the older I get, the more I appreciate these pieces as pop art, not just toys.
Right.
It is pop art and it's a representation of something that we watched. And so I think artists should sign their work.
Right. And it's a cool idea. I know some of the guys got when the re-release early bird stand, they were getting those signed by all the guys at IC. But I think that poster is going to be cooler.
What about you?
I picked up another piece for my Bill and Ted run. I got a Genghis Khan that came in today. Picked up some Wampas today. I got one of the Hikari Wampas. I guess it was a limited edition of like 500 pieces, but they're dirt cheap. I don't know why they sell so cheap, but a guy had one at the meetup today, at the swap meet today. And then he had a Wampa and he was like, oh, since you're buying this piece, I'll throw the Wampa in for like $10. I said, how about 20 for both? And he's like, sold. I said, cool. Cause I'm army building the crap out of Wampas. If I can find them for under $10, they're coming home with me. What else did I get? My wife got me a Lego Wampa, which I was been looking for.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. She surprised me with she surprised me with that today. That was cool. I was at Walmart, at a different Walmart on like the other end of town. And I just I'm looking through the toy aisle and cause I've had good luck at that Walmart. And there was a Doc Brown, one of the NECA Doc Browns sitting there. That's normally like a $30 figure. And I picked it up and scanned it just to check what the price was. And it didn't come up on the app. So I was like, huh. So then I go to the checkout and $30 figure rang up for $11. So
that's awesome.
Score. That was my score for the week.
Score.
Yeah. But I'm still waiting for ICCCCCC, which will be in 2 weeks.
I'm just going to call it IC3.
There you go. I'm waiting for that, man. That's going to be that. I'm hoping that'll be a fun show. If the room sales Friday, Saturday night, I'm hoping it'll be off the chain. The show's going to be cool, but the show to me is secondary to everything else. Cause I want to see people that I haven't seen in 2 years. I want to hang out. I want to see stuff that you're not going to see again. Stuff that people may have taken, we're planning to take to Celebration. They may have at the room sales at this thing. And, it's going to be a fun time hanging out, man.
I'll send you my phone number so you can keep in contact with me.
Yes. Micro Machines. Oh, shit.
Yeah, Micro Machines. You're right.
Micro Machines. I got it right.
You got it right. I got excited. You said the word.
So yeah, I'm hoping there'll be some cool stuff there. There always is.
Cool.
But yeah, we'll be up there. I'll be up. I actually found out that they're starting because I'm going up Thursday, going up a day early, that they're going to start setting stuff up on Thursday. So I'm going to be setting up the club table Thursday. So I'm going to get in there like 2 days before everybody else. So knock on wood, maybe I won't piss people off and can probably make some deals, but we'll see what happens.
Very cool. I'm excited. I'm excited to have the full experience without the family. The family's coming with me and they're going to do Nashville without me. So.
Are you at least going to go to American Pickers?
No.
Oh.
No, I plan on doing I'm sure the convention's going to be exhausting enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go out and hit the town. We can do that some other time, maybe.
Right. And then I got some more exciting news that we were going to go to Florida this week, but stuff happens. Our trip got canceled. So I'm messing with the wife a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, why don't we just go up to Cincinnati? And she kind of gave me a cross-eyed look like, you suck, because I know why you want to go to Cincinnati. And 2 weeks later, we're booking a trip to Cincinnati. 2 days, within 2 days, we're booking a trip to Cincinnati. So
very cool.
Yeah, we got all I can't wait. I got the freaking everything booked out, or my wife's looking for all kinds of stuff. She found a toy show, found, these flea markets that are supposed to be incredible. Found all these toy shops that are in the city. So I'm really looking forward to getting and just going in. I call it a pilgrimage for a lack of better words, because it's, going to Kennerland.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it'll be a fun trip. So
you have an adult beverage?
I do. I am drinking a Shiner.
Okay.
I got it like a quarter of the way gone, or quarter of it left. So I'll get another one. Oh, excuse me. In a minute. I got a fridge. It's got something in it. What about you?
Knobs Creek.
Knobs Creek. Is it
on the rocks?
Did you bust open? You didn't bust open the. No, you didn't get a Disney one.
No, I didn't. And so that's why I was like, I'm just going to go get a Knobs Creek because I've never had it. Everybody raves about it.
What do you think of it?
I like it.
Cool.
Goes down easy.
That's like a whiskey, right?
Yeah, it's whiskey.
Cool.
Scotch. No, it's not Scotch whiskey. It's good, though.
Yeah.
I'm moving to some news.
Yeah, let's do some news.
The big news. Hello there. The cast of Obi-Wan was released.
Yeah.
Very excited about this because in addition to Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, Moses Ingram, I think that's how she says her name. I think that she has a big role because she's right between Hayden Christensen and Joel Edgerton, who played Beru.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking and she also hinted on Instagram that she loves playing with lightsabers or something like that. So I'm wondering if she's like an Inquisitor.
Ooh.
Because, I mean, what else can she be at this point? Unless she's some Jedi that's hiding. Bonnie Peace. I'm going to say Peace. As Beru, she's coming back. Kumail Nanjiani. Excuse me. Adira Varma, Rupert Friend, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sung Kang, Simone Kessel, and Benny Safdie.
Sounds good enough.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, that's the full cast that they've announced. I'm very excited about Rupert Friend in particular. Looks like he's going to be some sort of Imperial officer.
That would be cool. I'm just looking at the pictures.
He just looks like an Imperial officer.
Yeah, and then I've heard rumors that is Indira Verma.
Yeah.
That Satine.
Satine. She died in the Clone Wars, so that would have to be some sort of flashback.
Yeah. Well, that's why do you think Hayden Christensen's in there? They're probably going to have Clone Wars flashbacks.
Funny you say that because an IGN article pointed out, and I've kind of said something similar to this in the past, that Vader says to Luke in Return of the Jedi, Obi-Wan once thought as you do. So when was that?
Right.
Because we never saw that in any of the movies. How did Darth Vader know that Obi-Wan once thought that way unless they've met up? Because Vader also tells Obi-Wan on the Death Star, you should not have come back. So there's wiggle room there for both of them to meet up, to be in canon. Obi-Wan doesn't know that Anakin becomes Vader. So if he figures that out on the show, that gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like with the whole Lando's droid, the L3 and the Falcon. They set up that character. They set up that whole scene of Lando loading her into the Falcon just on the one thing of 3PO talking to her in A New Hope, or not A New Hope, whatever movie. Empire. And, the
Falcon has a weird dialect.
Yeah. Where'd you get this droid? So, or your Falcon or whatever. I could see him doing that.
So I'm very excited about the Kenobi series. That I think is the most exciting thing on the horizon for me.
You're not excited about Bad Batch?
I'm excited about Bad Batch. I'm excited. Well, I take that back. Book of Boba, season 3 of Mando. So, but I mean, that's classic Star Wars for me. Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader and all that. So I'm excited about that.
Have you? I guess you've seen the Bad Batch trailer, right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer. Fennec Shand is in it. It sounds like it's voiced by the same actress. What is it? What was the character at the end of Clone Wars who was all messed up and was being was it Fives?
Yeah, he's going to be in it, which surprises me.
He's part of the Bad Batch now.
Yeah, well, so I guess they're going to continue it, and he has that thing that Lobot has on his head.
Oh, does he? I didn't pick that up.
Yeah, Or did he have it in the Clone Wars? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But he has that thing Lobot has on it. It's the same computer thing.
Yeah.
Which somebody's with Lobot.
Yeah.
Somebody put 2 and 2 together. Lobotomy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah, and when you read that Lando comic, that's pretty relevant.
Right.
That's not the word I'm looking for, but whatever.
Yeah, same difference. But apparently that's like a common thing for the Empire to do, because even in the new High Republic, those guys, that class of people, they're mentioned in the High Republic book.
Oh, that must be a way of controlling people.
Yeah, that, and I think it's just they get like a super. Basically, it's a droid with human capability or human thought or something. So you've got the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mena Massoud, who was Aladdin in the movie Aladdin.
What
was the name of that movie?
Aladdin.
Yeah. What was the name of that movie? Aladdin. He posted a shirtless photo of himself. That's the important part, really.
Right.
With the quote, "Hey, just so you know, when I escape, I won't hurt any of you," which is a line that Ezra Bridger says. So he's just fanning the flames that he's coming to the Star Wars universe as a grown-up version of Ezra.
I'm trying not to get excited about that, dude.
When you watch Aladdin, that new version, I mean, that's basically Ezra. It's the same kind of character. So I think you do a great job at it.
I can't wait for that Ahsoka show. It's gonna be so upsetting if they don't go the direction that they're teasing.
Yeah. And then let's see, there's just a couple more pieces. So we kind of mentioned it, but there's that comic pack Black Series with Jackson, Canor Jax, which is, I guess, wrong from Crimson Empire. It's like the completely wrong figure for what they made. Did you see all that?
I did see it, but I didn't pay that close of attention to it.
Yeah, they put the wrong name on the character that they've made. And so it's just like, if you just checked QC or went on to Wikipedia, or like, I don't understand how that mess up happened, but it's the completely wrong character. But that whole rumor turned out to be true. I was able to get those no problem. I think I got them through Hasbro. I think.
How many Jaxes did you buy?
Just the one.
Okay. Because I know how much you were looking forward to that figure. How bad did it pain you to buy that figure?
It didn't bother me. I don't have nothing wrong against the character. I just don't understand why that character and not another one.
Right.
There's other characters that they haven't made yet. Like Lobot. Make a Black Series Lobot.
Right. Or they could have did the Hood guy. Can't talk.
Wilro Hood.
Real Hood. They could have made him.
Yes. It is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars here. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So those hit the web, picked up those. The first actual photos of the retro Mando line hit the web. Those look great. Yakface posted images of a Hasbro survey about plastic-free Black Series packaging. Did you see those?
I did. Those look interesting.
Yeah.
I do kind of look forward to that, because opening Black Series out of that plastic clamshell is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but now it's questioning, like, do I open them? Do I keep them boxed? Because the nice thing about these Black Series with the window on the front is that I can actually see the figure. So what's the point of buying it just to buy a $20 box?
So what are they? Did it open up like a book, or did it just have like a window in it, or what was their plan?
So there wasn't much except for the photos that they provided. So in one photo, it looked exactly. In all photos, they looked exactly like the current look and feel of the current Black Series, where they've got that angled window on it, or the angled panel. It's got the drawing on the side, so it looks the same except for the front, which is all solid. There's no plastic window. It's got a sketch on it. So that was one version. Another version, there was a little window in the upper right-hand corner, maybe about 1.5 inches deep or tall, and you can see the figure in the back. So you'd be able to just stick your finger and touch the figure, which I guess I prefer over not being able to see it at all. I'm wondering what they might do with the vintage collection, because that's a lot of plastic right there too.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just interesting.
Right.
It's
Well,
coming.
Yeah. Well, heck, I saw a thing that Disney got rid or is getting rid of all their plastic in the park. So
Yep.
they're doing it looked like they were doing wood spoons, which I don't know what would be worse, but
Was that accurate, or was that just an April Fool's?
It might have been an April.
I don't know.
Damn it, I hate April Fool's jokes.
It happened on April 1, and I just assumed it was an April Fool's prank, so I never clicked through.
Okay. See, I hate those. I hate April Fools because half the stuff like that you scan through and you don't realize what day it is.
Yeah. So that was that. And then finally, Ray's yellow lightsabers coming to the Force FX lightsaber line.
Yeah.
But I'm not into that. So it looked like it was a $250 price tag too.
I can't believe they're charging that much for those things, but people are buying them.
Yep. So that's all I have for news. Did you have any?
Oh, no, but I forgot something else I got.
Oh, okay.
I got a ghost tattoo.
Oh, that's right.
I totally forgot about my ghost tattoo. So,
well, it's a good episode to introduce that on.
Yeah, that was
we're
fun.
Talking Rebels. This is a two-parter.
Yes, because like I said, I'll be in Cincinnati. I was supposed to be in Florida this week, but Cincinnati. So we're gonna break this up into two parts, and then we'll be at ICCCC next 3 weeks from now. Jeez.
Wow.
Oh, it's gonna be an exciting time, dude.
Wait.
2 weeks from now. Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from right now.
Yes.
From us recording it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because
if you're listening to this in your car, we're just lying to you right now.
Exactly.
And I apologize for lying, but that's just what I am and who I am, and that's what I represent.
Right.
I represent lying. So I heard you like this little show called Star Wars Rebels.
Yes, I freaking love Rebels. I don't even know where to start talking about Rebels, man.
Why do you love Rebels? Why does that resonate with you so much? Have you thought about it?
I've thought about it a little bit. I think it's just because of the time Rebels came out, because it came out in a time where I was starving for Star Wars content. I'd never watched the Clone Wars. And Disney had just bought it. So they have Disney Plus, or not Disney Plus, Disney DXD, I think it was on.
XD, yeah.
And it was right when, before the new movies were coming out, and it was just new Star Wars content. So it found me at the right time. And the first season, I just started watching it because it was Star Wars. And you hear that the TIE fighters in the first episode fly over and shoot, and you start hearing the familiar sounds because it's just familiar to you. And then by the end of the first season, when Vader shows up, and going into the second season, where I think it takes a turn, because a lot of people don't like the first season, but you stick it out and you get to the second season, and it people, because it was coming on at like 9:00 at night, so it turns and it goes to an adult centered show, where I think it started off as a kid's show, and then they figured out, no, our audience, we're totally wrong for our audience. And it starts getting really, really dark and really deep, and it hits all the right notes for me, as far as Star Wars goes.
Keep telling yourself that they made it for adults.
Yes, I will. we all gotta come to the understanding that this is a kid's show that we're watching at 45 years old, and we're good.
It's so well done.
Yes.
The first episode I've watched, I've seen all the shows, all the episodes, and didn't want to sit down and watch them all over again for this episode of the podcast, but I did go back and I watched a couple of them. And instead of watching the first one, I watched Droids in Distress, which is the second version, the third episode of season 1. And the thing I loved about this was they were planting a flag and establishing what this show was going to be about. It was going to be about bringing in a lot of the canon that they've kind of gotten rid of. Mm-hmm. It was introducing old characters once again. It was showing the aesthetic of the show, which was all of the Macquarie art. Like, that's basically what Chopper is. They're there's that famous drawing of R2D2 and C3PO on Tatooine that Macquarie did, and R2D2's got arms on the side, and he doesn't look like R2D2 as we know it, but he looks more like Chopper. So that was the inspiration. They're using a lot of Macquarie stuff. They brought in Star Tours and DJ Rex.
Yeah,
I guess it's just Rex there. But even on the Star Tours and the Star Speeder, there was a droid. R2D2 and C3PO are in this episode, and they kind of come face to face with R2 Chopper and another protocol droid, but he looks exactly like that painting from Macquarie. And so I love the tone. I love that episode, how they were setting this all up.
Going on the Macquarie stuff, the Ghost is an early concept of the Millennium Falcon. Zeb is an early concept of Chewbacca.
Yep.
You've got the Macquarie Vader. Everything is just comes straight out of the book of the Macquarie stuff. It's like they just went to all his archives and started Rebels from there, which, like you said, it's a good nod to Star Wars history.
And they were starting to like tease us a little bit that some of our familiar characters were coming back,
which they did bring back in the show, because you had Lando, you had Leia. I don't remember. Luke wasn't there. You didn't see Han. I don't know if you didn't. You might have. Did we see Chewbacca? I don't think so.
Yeah, Chewbacca was there.
Was he?
Yeah. He was an interesting looking character.
He was what?
He was an interesting looking character.
Yeah, I have to go back and find it.
The design of some of these characters were a little too plain for me. Backgrounds were extremely simple. You can see like the CG simulated splatter from like paint marks on some of their clothing and some of the background. It was just like they used MS Paint and they just, clicked and sprayed some spray paint on the backgrounds. So I didn't like. So the thing I like about Rebels is, even though they had, I'm going to call it poor quality, and probably animation power. Because when you look at Rebels and you look at Clone Wars, it's night and day. Like Clone Wars has the budget, Rebels doesn't. You can see that they cut back on the budget and it affected some of the animation. But they have such rich storytelling that it doesn't affect the final product.
Right. I cry like a baby 2 times while I'm watching Star Wars, and it's Jedi Knight, which I mistakenly watched this morning, and the epilogue to Rebels. Yeah. And I had a half an hour to kill before the show, and I'm like, I need to go through I need to catch up on my Rebels watch, which I did a crap job of it for this episode, for this, because I did like you did, you watch the first episode and you kind of pick and choose, and then you watch the season end, the season finale and the season premiere of a couple of seasons. And then I got to the 4th season and the grandbabies were over, and I just let it play. And I was like, the season 4 just was so good.
Yeah.
There was not really any empty spots. And, I like I said, I started watching Jedi Knight this morning, and you get the feel for it, and you're like, crap, this is that episode. And you start crying, because you're like, it didn't affect me the first time I saw it, but this is basically my third rewatch of Rebels, third watch of Rebels. And you just realize how much you connect with the characters after so much time. We're going to spoil it. So I'm sorry if you hadn't seen Rebels, but Jedi Knight's the one where Kanan passes away. Yeah. And it's just so powerful because he sacrifices himself for everybody. And they did such a beautiful job with it. And it just, that whole episode, you feel it. You're like, something's going to happen as you're rewatching it. And it just, storytelling, Dave Filoni just did such an amazing job storytelling on this whole show.
Dave Filoni is a master storyteller. In my mind, he's just becoming better and better. And Rebels shows that he's playing the long game. He would set things up and then they would pay it off later on. I did appreciate that Kanan died not at the last episode. He died earlier on in season 4, and that gave us time to see how that affected Ezra and change him as a person, which is an interesting way of doing it, to kill off a main character in the middle, because you typically expect that during what they call sweeps, where they try to sell advertisers and stuff like that, and and get more money and more profit from advertising. And they didn't do that. They did that in the middle of just the season, just to help the character development of Ezra.
Yeah, and rewatch it after I watched Clone Wars, and then rewatching Rebels, because I watched Clone Wars and then I rewatched Rebels, and it just, those two complement each other so well, especially like the 7th season of Rebels, you know, and then you see the seeing the Ahsoka and the Darth Vader storyline play out in Rebels. The first time you're like, who's Ahsoka? And because I didn't know who she was. I knew who she was, but I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because you didn't see, like you said, you didn't see Clone Wars. And so here comes this character that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Ahsoka. And you're like, who's this thing?
I knew that you see enough of Ahsoka, so you're like, okay, cool. She's an important character, but you don't realize how important she is until you watch Clone Wars. And then you don't realize, well, I'm trying to think the season 7, but well, yeah, because you do see her and Darth Maul reunite, quote unquote, but you don't see the effect of it till you watch Clone Wars season 7.
Yeah, and so in the rewatch, watching that episode, Twilight of the Apprentice, where Ahsoka, Maul, Kanan, and Ezra are all on that pyramid, Ahsoka was a little too passive for me when it came to Maul. Like, I know she's not a dark side user, but I felt like she would have been more resistant to Ezra going towards Maul. Like, this is a master manipulator. Ezra, stay the hell away from him. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go down the right path or the wrong path, but I can tell you if you're going to, hook up with Maul and become his apprentice or listen to him or do anything with Maul, you are going to become a dark side user.
Right.
So I had some issues with that in retrospect.
I can feel that. I guess, yeah, going back and watching that and thinking about the Siege of Mandalore and Clone Wars and how her and Maul just like had one of the most epic lightsaber battles in Star Wars. It is kind of just, oh, you're Darth Maul, it's Darth Maul. And yeah, you think she would have been a little bit more, holy crap.
Yeah, just a little bit. So I'm going to go into some of the things that I don't like, so we can get that out of the way and we can just focus on what I do like.
Awesome.
If that's all right. Do you have anything you don't like about Rebels?
Just there, like with anything, there's some filler episodes, but you're going to get that with any season, any episode or show, rather.
So I loved Darth Vader. I loved his design. I loved that they brought James Earl Jones back. I loved every moment with Darth Vader. I loved when he would fight Ezra and Kanan and he would give him a whooping. He would whip their ass. But the problem with using Darth Vader, and this is the reason probably why they got away from him and brought in Thrawn, is he can't lose. He's Darth Vader.
Right.
You can't see Darth Vader lose. And the Darth Vader we saw in Rogue One that was merciless, watching Rebels and coming back to it, he seems like he's playing with Ezra and Kanan when they fight with lightsabers. There's a couple moments where I'm like, if you just took your lightsaber right now, you'd be done with Ezra. Like, stop playing around.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I didn't like seeing Darth Vader get a little neutered, so to speak.
Right.
What else did I not like? Ezra. I had some issues with Ezra watching it. So when you watch it week to week, it didn't really affect me, but when you watch it back to back to back and binging, I get a little tired of Ezra and his attitude. His attitude is kind of like, well, he's a Boy Scout, so it's like, if it's the right thing to do, we should just do it. But sometimes you shouldn't just rush into it because it's the right thing to do. You can come up with a plan. You can do it safely. Like, he's getting called to go to Tatooine to because Darth Maul is calling to him or something like that. And it's just like, dude, listen to people. They're telling you not to trust Maul. Just chill. And he's like, well, it's the right thing to do, so I got to go do it. And it's like, well, you're going to get killed. And luckily, he's got writers on his side. But if it was real life, he would have got killed.
Yeah, he just got lucky because Obi-Wan finds him at the right moment and, saves him.
And I have to say, that is one of my favorite parts of the show, is when Darth Maul faces Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I think that's Filoni at his best.
Mm.
The movements, like, he communicates so much through Obi-Wan Kenobi's movements without actually saying a single word.
Yeah.
Maul and Obi-Wan meet, and Maul takes his two fingers out with his lightsaber kind of over his head, like from the Clone Wars and from Revenge of the Sith. And then he kind of moves his lightsaber into the Qui-Gon Jinn pose, with his lightsaber kind of up over his shoulder, and his arms are kind of parallel to that. And that's the stance that Qui-Gon took, obviously, when he fought Darth Maul. And so it's just the character's changing. He's just changing the way he's thinking about how he's going to approach this character. His initial thought was, I'm going to attack him like I did during the Clone Wars. And he's like, no, maybe I should follow my master. And then he's like, no, I should learn I should apply what I've learned over this time in the desert. And he kind of takes the stance of old Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he doesn't mess around when Maul attacks. He just, it's just like, we're not doing this anymore.
The first time I saw that fight, I was upset with it, because to me it was over too fast. I expected it to be a little bit more drawn out, but
yeah,
you kind of, people were like, oh, it was awesome. And rewatching it, I understand, it is a cool lightsaber fight, even though it is over in like 5 seconds.
Yeah. And Maul, the whole backstory of Maul, he just wants revenge on everyone who's wronged him.
Right.
He's been kicked to the gutter. So he wants to get rid of Sidious. He wants to get rid of Vader. He wants to get rid of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so he's got all this pain. He's fighting to get rid of this pain.
Right.
And I think that works really well on Rebels.
Yeah. What else did I like in Rebels? I know one thing you didn't like.
What?
The world between worlds.
Well, actually, I didn't like the concept. And that was one of the episodes that I watched. That came after Jedi Knight. So it was after Kanan passed away. I keep saying that. Kanan got killed.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that there's this place that Jedi can go and travel through time. Like that, to me, that just doesn't seem like Star Wars. But what it does for the character of Ezra is kind of very powerful, because Ezra's hurting at that point because Kanan's dead. He doesn't have a master anymore, and he's got to go the rest of the journey alone. So he has to face the fear. He's got to face himself and his insecurities that I can do this. And so he goes to the world between worlds, and he watches and he witnesses Kanan die all over again. He's just finished saving Ahsoka. And so this is his opportunity to save Kanan. And instead of saving him, he's forced to let it go.
Right.
And so there's some deep trauma there that he heals in that moment. And I'm just like, that's powerful storytelling. Even though I don't like the world between worlds, that's powerful storytelling.
The Ahsoka concept art almost feels like they're going to bring that into her, to her show. That may be a concept or whatever storyline.
Really? World between worlds?
Don't you, huh?
That whole world between worlds?
Right, because they have the Ahsoka thing, and then behind it's the circle.
We'll see. One step at a time.
God, I need to start writing stuff down, because I'm thinking of stuff while you're talking, and I need to just write it down so I can remember it. But, geez, what else it just, dude, and then Thrawn. You gotta, because Thrawn, they introduce Thrawn and bring him into canon in this show, which to me was just amazing.
That was amazing. I distinctly remember seeing the teaser that was premiered at Celebration. And so I told my son to come in here, let's watch this. And we're watching the teaser, and I start flipping out because Thrawn makes his appearance in the teaser. And my son's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, dude, that's Thrawn. You have no idea.
Right.
Our rebel heroes are up against something.
Yeah. And they do kind of spoil it a little bit. They do kind of outwit him some. And you're like, I think I heard some people were like, well, he shouldn't be that easily outwitted. And while I was watching Jedi Knight, and it also, you've got to read, because they did a good job intertwining stuff, or Dave Filoni left space in there for like Timothy Zahn. I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but Timothy Zahn works his magic in some of the voids that Thrawn's missing in Rebels. Well, he's fighting to hold the TIE Defender project. And then they're bringing in Krennic, which is from Rogue One. And then all of a sudden in Rogue One, there's Harrison Dula, and there's Chopper, and there's the Ghost. And those three things, you're reading the newer Thrawn, not the new Thrawn trilogy, but the last one that came out, the whole trilogy, that fills in some of the TIE Defender spaces that Rebels left out. And then, when you read Rebels or you watch Rebels and then you see Rogue One come into it, there's space there that Rogue One fills in, and just some amazing storytelling. In those three films, or the film, the series, and the books.
Oh, you know what's the worst part of Rebels?
What?
Helicopter lightsabers.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't. There's no lift. It's just whatever. It is what it is. It's a make believe show, but I roll my eyes every time I'm seeing it. Like, come on.
And how many Inquisitors were there? Because they're in Jedi Fallen Order. They had like 3 or 4 of them in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that kind of died in the show.
Yeah.
They used it for the one episode and it never came back. I don't think that resonated with people. I don't think it's believable.
Yeah.
So that was one of my least favorite moments. But
yeah, I've got to go back. And I should have said more at the beginning, but I mean, this show just, you heard it when Ahsoka brought up Grand Admiral Thrawn. You go back and listen to that episode. I don't even know what episode it is, but it was at Thanksgiving time last year. I'll look it up and let you guys know. But anyway, that episode of this show where we go through that episode of The Mandalorian, and I'm literally in tears over this show, is how excited I am over it. I mean, my dog, my puppy, my year-old puppy is named Sabine because of, my love for this show. I've got 2 Rebels tattoos. The only other thing I've got more is Boba Fett. I've got 3 Boba Fett tattoos, but I got more planned for, it's like I got my Ghost tattoo done, and I'm like, I got a space I can put the dark saber up underneath it. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll do a Sabine tattoo right next to it. And and then they bring up the dark saber in Rebels, and the way they brought it up, rewatching it, they kind of, it's a second thought, and then they let it sit for 3 or 4 episodes, and then all of a sudden it's back.
Yeah. And again, Dave Filoni's a master filmmaker, storyteller he's playing the long game. He's introducing things. He's coming back to it. All these characters had some sort of character development. That was episode 13, by the way, The Jedi, where we talked about that one episode.
Oh, because we were linking up with The Mandalorian. So yeah, go back. If you haven't listened, if you want to see how much I love this show, truly go listen to episode 13 of our podcast, because you'll hear a grown man cry over a TV show.
Ezra, throughout this whole, throughout, 4 seasons, he comes of age. Yeah. Kanan learns to survive his trauma, stop running, and embrace who he is. Hera finds her confidence, becomes an amazing leader. Zeb goes from being like a brother to Ezra to being like a brother to Callus. He's just that older brother who's got your back always and will defend you. And then Sabine embraces her destiny. She's running from the Empire and running from her past, and she in the end embraces it and says, "This is who I am too."
Yeah.
There's just amazing character development throughout the 4 seasons.
And going when she's training, because I watched the arc of her training with the Darksaber, that whole Darksaber arc, and when she just first handles the Darksaber, and like her and Kanan are battling with it, and she just goes off on Kanan and is like yelling about how everybody betrayed her, or how she betrayed everybody because she comes up with this mass weapon that destroys Mandalorian armor, and everybody turned their back on her because she did it. And, she left her family behind and her father, and it just, wow, and it's not even it's just so emotional. I know we keep saying Dave Filoni is a freaking master. But yeah, it was such a good show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka because he's got the goods.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it.
He did it. I mean, he did it in Mandalorian, man, when that Darksaber popped out. Who didn't scream, there's the freaking Darksaber? And who didn't scream, oh my God, did she just say Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Yeah.
You know, wow.
He brought back Hondo from the Clone Wars and from
Yeah.
Smuggler's Run. I love Hondo as a pirate. It seems like this was like Disney's, well, it's all owned by Disney, but Star Wars' version of Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
He's got the dreadlocks. He's got the long cape. He's got, well, not in Rebels and Smuggler's Run he does, but I love Hondo. He's got that arrogance to him, the swagger. Rex. Filoni was trying real hard to make Rex on Endor in Return of the Jedi. And even at the end of season 4, Rex is wearing armor similar to a bearded rebel officer that you see in the background of Return of the Jedi.
Well, didn't they actually just come out and say, yeah, that's Rex?
They said that, but there's nothing connecting it other than them saying that. So the way that Lucasfilm works, somebody could write a story about a bearded rebel and call him, Glen, and that becomes canon.
Right.
So someone needs to write a Rex book and make that canon in order for it to become canon and solidified.
Right. Well, hell, they may bring it up in freaking Ahsoka. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting if they use the same actor as Boba Fett. What's his name? Why can't I remember things?
Tamora Morrison.
Thank you.
Dude, that guy is just he's back in the truck, the Brinks truck up to the Disney offices right now because he's gonna be in Ahsoka. He's gonna be in freaking Boba Fett, and he's going to be back in The Mandalorian. So he's got 3 shows that they're going to use him in.
He might be in Obi-Wan if he wants to play Commander Cody.
Yeah. Jeez.
Because I don't think we ever saw Cody die.
Yeah.
And that was his commanding officer. So, yeah, Rebels is a great show. Lots of great character development. Lots of great storytelling, rich storytelling. It was a way for them to continue the Clone Wars without continuing the Clone Wars. A lot of the things that were kind of left open, they didn't think they were going to have another episode or another season of Clone Wars. So they tried to wrap it up here, and then they came back with that 7th season of Clone Wars. And so in that sense, it's worth watching if you're a Clone Wars fan to watch Rebels. Yes.
You should watch Rebels anyway. No, just get over the fact that it's a quote-unquote kids cartoon because it just gets so much better.
It's a great family show because you have Kanan and Hera as the mother and father, Sabine as a sister, daughter, Ezra as an adopted brother, Zeb as a brother, and then Chopper as the dog.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things to do in the show when I was watching it with my son was to try to figure out what Chopper says.
I'm finally starting to figure that out. And you know who the voice for Chopper was, right?
Yeah, Filoni.
That's awesome.
Sometimes he would just make that noise, but sometimes you'd hear him say, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. And it's sort of like Kenny on South Park. When you listen to what was said after he says it, you're like, oh, that's what he was saying.
But the cool thing about Chopper, too, you would hear Luke talk to R2-D2, and then he would see the translation thing, but C-3PO would listen to R2-D2, and these people are hearing them like he's talking English. But we're just like, we have to depend on what the characters are reacting to R2-D2 to understand what R2 is saying. And we make assumptions based on their response. But with Chopper, it was the first time that we were kind of listening in on the Star Wars universe, like we could actually hear what these droids were saying through their beeps.
Right.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah. Just damn. Chopper was such a cool droid because, like you said, he was the first time, and you really got to see a droid with sass.
Yeah. Well, R2 has sass.
Well, Chopper had more sass.
Well, R2-D2 has sass first, which makes him the brass ass.
Right, but he had arms.
R2-D2 has arms. They're just hidden. And
Chopper's my favorite droid, man. There's no way around it, man. Sorry.
R2D2 could serve you a drink if you need one right now.
I bet Chopper could too if I really, really it was nice to him.
Chopper would throw it at your face.
He would, but I'd have to grab it. I'd use the Force to slow it down.
Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. So, yeah, it's Star Wars at its best.
Yeah, it really is. Because I was trying to look up stuff to watch and try to look at, am I going to watch the Ahsoka arcs? How am I going to redo this rewatch? Because I know I didn't have time to watch all 4 seasons, so I was going to jump around. And I'm so emotionally attached to this thing. All I'm doing is like reading the titles to this, and I'm like, crap, I can't watch that. I can't watch that. I was going to watch some more before the show, and I'm just like, I'm not emotionally ready to get back into it right now.
Yeah.
I know I've got like 5 or 6 episodes left, and it's going to just, that epilogue just gets me every damn time.
I appreciated watching Callus slowly grow a conscience over the past 4 seasons. That was cool. The Grand Inquisitor I loved, and I felt like he was underused.
All right.
And I loved the reveal of who he was.
Uh-huh.
That was cool.
Well, talk to me about the reveal.
I don't remember how they did it, but he turned out to be a Jedi guard.
Oh yeah,
Jedi Temple guard.
Kanan was in the Jedi Temple, or was in. No, they were. Where were they? They were in one of the temples. Yeah, they were in the temple, or they were training with Yoda, or something. Yoda was there, and Ezra ended up going with, and Ahsoka was there too, I believe. So it was Ahsoka did her thing, and then Ezra was with Yoda, and then Kanan went off. It was in a temple, and the temple guard popped up, and it was the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
And they were all like not imagining, but in a forced trance, and that's how they. I don't remember what Ahsoka did, but yeah, Ezra was with Yoda, and Kanan was with the Inquisitor.
Yeah, so that was a cool reveal.
And then when Kanan loses his eyesight, he picks up a Jedi Temple Guard mask to put on to kind of hide the fact that he's lost his eyesight. Blinded. I'm
blinded. And then he just became more powerful in the Force, which I loved. Like he was trusting his eyes and what he saw too much. And when he started feeling through the Force, he became even more powerful, and to the point where he was able to face Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Granted, Darth Maul was weaker and slower at that point, but it was still awesome to see him just trust in the Force and just feel the Force and do it.
Yeah, and then when he dies, when he sacrifices himself, his eyesight comes back. And, the last thing he sees is
uh-oh.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Here we go.
He sees Hera, and you don't realize that the relationship him and Hera have until like almost that moment. They don't really reveal it. They kind of hint at it, but it's not really revealed until basically at that episode or the episode before that.
Well, they hint at it strongly in that episode, but because it's a kid's show, you're like, well, maybe it's platonic where they don't, maybe it's going more than platonic at that point, and they feel more than, just, I don't know. Yeah. There was some gray room.
They left room for Jesus.
Yeah, they left room for Jesus, I guess. Yes. Yoda was in the room watching, so everyone was being good and polite. I'm not saying Yoda's Jesus.
Some people he is.
Yeah, who is the Jesus character of Star Wars? Because E.T. is essentially Jesus.
Right.
Dies and comes back. No one. I guess maybe they don't have one.
Yeah.
Anakin does have an immaculate, well, not Anakin. Shmi Skywalker has an immaculate conception.
Yeah, I guess it would be. It'd have to be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't. Jesus never died. That never happened to Jesus. I bring that up because Neo is a metaphor for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to get super religious on this episode. It is Easter, so
right.
Yeah. because filmmakers use that because it's such a popular. It's more than popular. It's something that it really resonates with people. That whole story, the entire Bible for some people.
Right.
It's just making me sound like I'm a heretic. The way I'm speaking right now. Whatever. I don't know if George pulled too much from the Bible. I think he just did more of the Greek tragedy.
Yeah. Well, it's the hero's journey.
The hero's journey. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's all of Star Wars. That's Luke's journey, is the hero's journey. Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't know either.
I'm trying to fill time. We got another whole episode next.
I know we do, but it'll be a fast
pour another one.
Yeah, we will. Damn it.
Next week, we're talking about Star Wars Rebels collecting.
Yeah.
Without news.
Without news. Oh, jeez.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know. I think I'm good. Just watch this damn show because it's so good. I thought I'd have so much more to add to this, but yeah. Chopper's awesome. What's your favorite character if you had to pick one?
I have a question for you when I'm done. If I have to pick one, wow. Who's my favorite Rebels character? Who do you pick?
It would be a toss-up between Chopper and Sabine.
Okay. I guess Kanan.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too vanilla. It's not a very sexy answer, but you know, that whole story of the dad who kind of just feels panic and lost, and he finds himself and releases the trauma and moves forward.
Right.
I don't like his end, but
I think.
What did you think?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think that his end. I liked his end. It sucks he had to sacrifice himself, but I think it's fitting, and it teaches, like you said, it teaches Ezra a lesson. And then when you bring up when Ezra sacrifices himself with Thrawn and the space whales, and they go into, he knows they're getting ready to teleport. He's like, "Leave me alone," and he does the same pose that Kanan does, you know, to force Thrawn into the space whales, and you know it. So I think it sets up a lot of stuff.
I didn't think about that until you just said that.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think of the last episode?
I thought it was very well done. The epilogue, I think, is the best part of the episode. But I should have rewatched it. I just wasn't ready for it. You know, I thought they ended it because most episodes, like when they ended Sons of Anarchy, that was crap. When they ended Lost, that was kind of, my wife's still pissed off at the way they ended Lost. But, you know, they end shows and they just end them on like Sopranos ended on like this. They cut the TV off. You're like, what happened to my cable when Sopranos ended? You know, I thought they did leave Rebels open, but they wrapped it all up in this nice little tight bow that, you know, you could, and Filoni's like giving you a present and like, all right, we're going to unwrap this in like 5 years.
Well, they started on Lothal with the siege and being invaded, and they ended it with it being liberated.
Right.
So that whole story on Lothal, and they tie it all back to Lothal. Like that's the whole through line through all the 4 seasons. And
yeah, because Lothal's their Tatooine in Rebels.
Yeah. And so the season ends, or the whole show ends when they've liberated it.
Right.
I didn't like how open-ended it was.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, they have to do something more with these characters. They can't just end it like that with Ezra and Thrawn. And then the promise of the epilogue that we're coming to find you. Well, when?
In the Ahsoka show. But I don't know how else they could have ended it, because then you're dealing with a bunch of other stuff. You're dealing with, you know, what Thrawn, you know, you had to do something with Thrawn because he's not into anything. You had to do something. You had to do something with all these characters, just like with Rogue One. You know, you couldn't you couldn't leave them alive because everybody would be like, where are they in the rest of the movies? So I think, you know, I think they ended it fine. You know, we're talking, and I just mentioned Sabine, and, you know, they bring Mandalore back into this stuff, you know, and what happens in Mandalore. But anyway, long story short, just the whole Mandalore arc in Rebels is amazing too.
We're talking about the last episode.
I
By
know
the
we're
way,
talking about
Twilight
the
of the
last
Apprentice
episode,
is
but I got to
great.
go back to season 3 and the Mandalorian arc and Rebels. But they had to do something with all these characters. They couldn't leave them all standing there. And, yes, they mentioned that Hera was, fought in the Battle of Yavin, and then like Rex was there at the Battle of Endor, and, and then they bring the Ghost back in The Last Jedi. And
wait, did they show that in Rebels Rex on Endor?
it's in the epilogue.
Oh, so it is part of it.
They
I
did.
need to go back and watch that then.
The rewatch, dude. Because they kind of, yeah, you're right. You were just talking about that. They did mention Rex at the Battle of Endor, and it's just very fleeting. It's just, and so was Rex. They were like, Hera fought in the Battle of Endor, and so did Rex.
Because
Oh, sorry, hold on.
passion never runs
I'm trying to
out.
pull it up on YouTube.
Don't do that to me.
Well, okay.
Do it. I want to listen to it. Let's listen to it.
I'm waiting for the YouTube commercial to pass.
YouTube? Yeah.
The TIA craft. Yeah. Is this it?
Yeah.
So Sabine's on the ledge, watching all these ships come on Lothal.
The attack we all anticipated never came. The once invincible empire had begun to fracture. The small rebellion had become bold. And with a decisive victory at the Battle of Endor, the Emperor's reign of terror came to an end. After the war, Zeb took Callus along the secret hyperspace path to the planet Lyrasan. It was then that Callus realized he hadn't destroyed the Lasat people, and that they were thriving on this new world. A world where he was welcome as one of them. Hera fought in the Battle of Endor, as did Commander Rex.
There it is.
By that time, there had been a new member added to the crew of the Ghost. Spectre 7, Jason Syndulla.
Named after me.
Just like his mother.
We all know
Well,
his dad.
We all know what his father was like. As for me, I used to think that Ezra was counting on me to protect Lothal, the planet and the people he cared for so much. But one day, I realized there was more to it. There was something else I was meant to do.
That's Ahsoka.
Ezra's out there somewhere, and it's time to bring him home.
And it's the music. I love that music.
So an interesting thing I'm just picking up after watching World Between Worlds.
Uh-huh.
The portal that they use is of the father, the brother, and the sister from Clone Wars, from the Mortis trilogy. And Sabine paints a photo of all of them, the family, the family of rebels, but in that same style that the father, the brother, and the sister are painted in the portal, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's the same kind of style. I just picked up that little detail, but that's the promise that Filoni made to us when we watched Rebels, that I'm going to finish this story, that there's more to tell. It was just like, when?
Right. I'm sending you a picture.
Oh, poor Glenn.
He's
Crying.
That's me listening to that.
Yeah.
Just hearing that that suite or whatever in Star Wars that they played at whenever that music comes up, it's
That's
emotional.
the Setting
to me.
Suns of Tatooine.
I love that song. I love that music. I love that piece of music. because I went to see the ASO do A New Hope, and while they were warming up, there's a dude on a French horn playing that. I'm just like, this was worth it just to hear that dude warming up, playing that on a French horn by himself in the symphony hall. It was just it was chilling. Goosebumps.
Yeah. Well, what do you say?
Yeah.
Wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up because we got to talk about collecting.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, I'm going to go grab another beer.
Yeah. I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, I'll talk to you next week in 5 minutes.
Make sure you, if you like our show, make sure you leave us a review, leave a comment. It really helps us out, gets us ahead of the pack. And lets people explore us and explore the show and hear us and find us and discover us. That's what I'm trying to say. Who knows what I'm trying to say?
I've noticed that we do have like 3 written reviews on iTunes, and then we have a couple of 5-star review or 5-star, like 5 people have given us 5 stars. So thank you, whoever you are. So that'll help. So please do that. You can email us at smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com if you got any questions, or if we said something wrong and you want to correct us, because I don't know everything. I know we know a lot, but we don't know it all. So we're going to say something wrong every now and again, and we'll admit it. And, Jason, where's your social media stuff?
Go to wasulko.com, wasulko.com, and you can find all my stuff there.
Awesome. Find me on Cajun Fed on Instagram. Look forward to seeing everybody a couple of weeks at IC in Nashville. Come up, say us hi, tell us hi. And we'll see you guys in Nashville in a couple of weeks. This is the way.
The force will be with you always.
That gets me too.